me. You already made everybody think I'm crazy. You already took my family away. You already separated all my friends. I don't got no celebrity friends.
You think about if Harley was part of intelligence, right? What kind of people you think are surrounding my kids? What kind of people you think are in that house?
They thought they were untouchable. They thought the cameras would keep rolling. The gloss would stay uncracked, and that if anything got too close to the truth, their lawyers would simply crush it under a mountain of cease and desist letters. But here we are, Sean Diddy Combs is behind bars, his empire crumbling, and now for the first time, the shine around the Kardashians is starting to flicker. This isn't just another scandal, this isn't some photoshopped bikini shot or a petty Instagram feud. This is federal. This is about trafficking across state lines. This is about coercion, manipulation, and a web of silence that's finally starting to unravel.
I'm sorry, I'm just like really, I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
Diddy's trial is not a tabloid circus. It's a slow-motion wrecking ball swinging straight through the walls of the entertainment elite. He's been indicted on charges that read like a script from a rejected HBO crime drama, Racketeering Trafficking. Conspiracy, his LA mansion was raided by Homeland Security. His New York penthouse ransacked, and what they found, thousands of incriminating photos, messages, a literal ocean of lubricants. Even hidden surveillance setups was enough to make prosecutors gasp. But now the shock isn't about Diddy himself. It's about who else might have been orbiting his so-called freak-off parties. And that's where things get ugly. See, we all knew the Kardashians loved the spotlight, but maybe they didn't think it would come from the federal courtroom. Because here's the deal. Multiple witnesses, leaks, and insiders have started pointing fingers directly at Kim Kardashian. Not just as a bystander, not just as a guest sipping something sweet by the pool, but as someone who was embedded, someone who may have known the inner workings of Diddy's empire and maybe helped keep the machine running. It started as whispers, then a clip surfaced, an old Keeping Up with the Kardashians episode where Khloe casually described a party with Diddy and a then 20-year-old Justin Bieber. Her exact words, half the people there were naked.
So who was with you this weekend? A bunch of my friends. Diddy, Quincy, Justin Bieber.
She laughed, said Kourtney would have loved it that moment, once brushed off as just another crazy celebrity anecdote has been pulled out and re-examined under a much darker light, because that party may have been one of Diddy's infamous freak-offs. Events now described in court as multi-day setups involving coercion recording devices and what prosecutors call non-consensual entrapment.
Court, I got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Well, this party, I think half the people there were naked. You would have loved.
Then came the nuclear bomb Megyn Kelly. No stranger to controversy herself, publicly stated she walked into the women's bathroom at the Met Gala and saw Diddy dry humping a Kardashian. Yes, the Met Gala, the most meticulously curated, hyper-controlled event in Hollywood, where gowns cost more than houses, and every movement is choreographed down to the eyelashes. And yet behind one door, away from the red carpet, there it was a grotesque moment of raw power and humiliation. A man under federal investigation, and a woman from America's most manufactured family, in a scene that no amount of glamour could clean up if that doesn't tell you the rules were different for them. What does?
Let's talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible things.
That single bathroom sighting blew a hole in the illusion. Suddenly, the idea that the Kardashians were just guests, just influencers, wandering through the haze collapsed. Because if that's what was happening on camera night at the Met Gala, what happened behind closed doors at Diddy's private compounds? Whispers turned to reports, reports became footage. And then came the rumor that shook even the tightest PR fortresses. There are federal tapes, allegedly tapes placing Kim Kardashian inside. Diddy's home participating in what sources call engineered setups meant to lure celebrities, manipulate them, and record the fallout for leverage. Translation, blackmail, entrapment, and maybe even something darker. The Kardashians, famously unbothered, suddenly went radio silent. Kim unfollowed. Diddy lawyers were mobilized, cease and desist. Letters started flying like confetti at a divorce party. But let's be honest, if this was just rumor, just noise, why the panic? Why scramble the legal jets unless there's something worth burying? You don't unleash a full legal firestorm over gossip unless that gossip is grazing a vein.
Unfortunately, we're all going to take a disgusting trip to his seedy, awful world. You know, the man has no class. He has no kindness in his dark, dark heart. And he's depraved. That's my opinion. This is a depraved, disgusting individual about whom I wish to hear nothing after this trial is done.
Inside sources say Kim's legal team went into full lockdown mode after the leak about the FBI's interest in her name. She reportedly told close contacts that everything will blow over, but then another bombshell dropped, a witness name redacted. In court filings claim to have seen Kim arriving at Diddy's house alone late at night on multiple occasions. No entourage, no cameras, just her, and the kind of silence that only means two things: secrecy or fear or both. And while the legal teams battle it out in the background, something even more disturbing is happening in public. The Kardashians, once the queens of the narrative, the architects of their own mythology, have gone quiet. Not a word from Kim, not a vague quote from Kourtney, not even a passive-aggressive meme from Khloe. And in Kardashian world, silence is not golden, it's radioactive. When you're typically broadcasting your young one's piano session and mentioning various companies during the stream and then abruptly stop, people take notice, and in this case, they're noticing with suspicion. The speculation is feeding itself. What did they see? What did they do? What were they paid? Did they help orchestrate setups? Were they pawns, players, or something in between? Let's not forget that Khloe once gushed about Diddy's energy, that Kourtney fondly reminisced about partying with him. Just the boys that Kim was photographed with him for over a decade, from red carpet appearances to private birthday celebrations. And now with Diddy's trial and packing a decade of coercion, entrapment, and forced compliance, those smiles in the photos start to look a little less innocent.
Dishonest, violent, horrible. A promiscuous swinger who lied to and cheated on multiple partners. Incredibly, that's how Sean Diddy Combs' own lawyers described the billionaire music mogul, currently facing serious trafficking charges in a New York court.
And then there's Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's longtime partner. His name keeps popping up. His ties to Diddy go back years, including emotional Instagram tributes, public praise, and private gatherings. Insiders now whisper that Corey may have known more. Then he let on one source bluntly stated he wasn't just standing in the corner with a drink, he was part of the planning. Corey denies it, but Kris, she's gone into overdrive trying to spin, distract, and distance. Rumor has it she's already been in talks with high-profile crisis firms to prepare for the possibility that subpoenas might come, because if the Kardashians end up called to testify, this shifts from messy gossip to historic scandal.
Are you surprised by the evidence that's already coming out in the criminal trial?
No, I'm not surprised. I experienced some of those things. Witness violence.
It's not just about a photo anymore, or a wild night, or a couple of loose quotes. This is about a potential criminal enterprise involving high-level celebrities who weren't just playing dress-up with darkness. They might have been helping run the machine. Diddy's indictment doesn't stand in isolation. It implicates structure, purpose, repetition. And to pull that off, you need more than just staff. You need faces, you need influence, you need people who can stand in front of the lens and sell. The illusion, while something rotten grows just behind the scenes, and the Kardashians. For years, they've been the lens, the story, the brand, but now that brand might be the very thing dragging them toward the courtroom. Because the prosecution isn't done, the list of names is growing, more footage is leaking, more witnesses are coming forward, and the empire of silence that's shielded them for so long is starting to crack.
Well, the things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed my life.
And maybe that's what's most chilling of all. Not the rumors, not the tapes, not the grotesque spectacle in the Met Gala bathroom, but the silence. The sudden, deafening silence of a family that built its fortune on never shutting up the courtroom. Is still speaking, the judge is still calling names, but the Kardashians for once have nothing to say, and yet maybe someone did try to warn us, baby, long before the handcuffs and the courtroom sketches. Someone had already seen behind the curtain and tried desperately to scream it into the void. For years, they painted him as unstable, erratic, paranoid. But now, those unfiltered live streams, those cryptic rants, those tweets that got him shadow banned, they sound less like meltdowns and more like prophecies. We all laughed when he called Diddy a puppet master, when he accused Kim and Chris of being controlled, when he said Hollywood was a trap designed to record, manipulate, and destroy. But look, at the facts unraveling, now tapes leverage cease and desist letters surveillance. If Wes's rants were a script, the trial is the documentary.